Hi, Reverend Paula Zabkar here from Spiritual Soul Center. Happy Sunday to you. We're in December. It's finally gotten a little cooler. Happy about that. So let's just take a minute and to bring ourselves into this now moment, to take a deep breath and to feel, even in our separation, to feel connected to each other. To breathe in and to breathe out and to know that beyond our physical nature, beyond our physical bodies, we are connected at a deeper level. We are connected through our hearts and through the soul of the universe. To breathe for just a moment. To know that from the inside. To know that at any moment, we can pause and recognize the interconnectedness of all of life. For that small but powerful truth, in this moment, we can be grateful, and so it is. Amen. Well, today I want to continue with this idea of transformation in a little bit a different way, because I was in this week thinking about how a lot of us must be bored already, bored with this pandemic. We are in the 10th month of this COVID experience we're having together. And there's really nothing exciting happening in so many ways. We can't gather together. We can't go out to the theater or to a musical. We can't gather with our friends safely and share meals and a glass of wine or a cup of tea. It's really hard, and we're bored, aren't we? I'll tell you how bored Renee and I are. Our conversations sometimes revolve around how quickly the refrigerator empties and how quickly the dishwasher gets full. Bored, the same old things happening, and sometimes it compels me to want to escape this small life that I seem to be in. Just bored. And another thing that I find is I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed at the news I hear. I'm annoyed that we seem to be in the same place we were at the beginning of this 10-month period, maybe even worse. Annoyed with and frustrated with other people for no really good reason. Annoyed and wanting it to get over with so that I can get on with life. Have you felt that way? Have you felt that way? I'm imagining you have. But in the moments of clarity, I think, and I would project that you also know that this is the life that's in front of us. And so let's live that, because there really are no do-overs. We can't go back and have it all again. That is, until this whirlwind picks us up and spins us around and spits us out into the same old boredom and annoyance. And we go back and forth, don't we? Well, I want more of those better days, those times when I recognize that what I have in front of me is what is. And so what am I going to do with that? What am I going to do with that? That my life is right here, right now. And so I have an alternative way of thinking about life. Rather than to be bored and annoyed, what if we decided to simply find the beauty in the ordinary, to find the beauty in the ordinariness of life? There's a lot of that around, isn't there? There's a lot of ordinary around. So why don't we use it? Why don't we take the deep dive into the beauty of the ordinary and give up our resistance to the boredom and the annoyance that we find? I think that's what we should do. I think that's a possibility. So as I often do when I prepare these messages, I looked up the definition of ordinary. It seems obvious, but ordinary means no specific quality or interest. Commonplace, unexceptional. Well, where's the beauty in that? Where is the beauty in that kind of thing? Well, I pondered that too, and I ponder by sitting with it and thinking. And here's something I come up with. That when I make an effort to see the beauty in the ordinary, my heart's lifted up a little bit. My soul feels a little more free. And when I decide to actually engage in it and inhabit the ordinary, there's a shift that takes place in me. There's a shift, and there's an ease that comes about, and like time stands still. There is no time. And actually, what I feel is bliss. Bliss. If I'm really honest with it. Doesn't that sound wonderful, to feel bliss? Listen, there's plenty that I have to do, and I know there is for you too. There's plenty of obstacles to overcome and checklists to still check off and obligations to be met. But I suspect that in your life, like in mine, there is a multitude of ordinary. There is a multitude of ordinary. And if we can really rest in the ordinary and feel what it feels like in those moments, then I think that we're on to something. I think we're on to something, this beauty in the ordinary, to notice how it makes us feel. I was having tea with a friend of mine this week, and she is a Soul Center supporter, a Soul Center person through and through. And she was sharing with me a story about the ordinariness. She didn't know she was sharing the story about the ordinariness, but what I heard was the power and the presence and the beauty of ordinariness. And she recalled a time early in her life where her friends would jump on this big bed with a glass of wine and watch this TV show called The Bachelorette. And she said, it really wasn't about The Bachelorette. I didn't really like the show. It wasn't really that I was looking forward to the show. But what I was looking forward to were those moments together. Those moments together with my friends. The joy that brought me. The connection. The friendship that I experienced in those moments. Such a simple moment. Such a simple, ordinary moment. But I would say one that brought her bliss. And now, decades later, having remembered that enough to share in a conversation that we have. Those stories that brought us, those moments of ordinariness that brought us this sense of bliss. So I made a short list of the things that bring me bliss, and many of them are, or all of them, are ordinary. Some of them happen every day. So I want to read this short list to you so you can get a sense of what I'm talking about. And you're going to recognize this. Watching the cat sleep in the sun. Starting a new journal. Reading a really good book. Receiving a note of thanks in the mail. Cleaning the house. Sleeping on clean bed sheets. Taking a hot shower, in our new shower, by the way. Putting on a warm hoodie. Writing with a really good pen. Eating leftovers. Eating ice cream or tacos or homemade soup. Breathing salt air. Dogs doing anything. Really, dogs doing anything. Drinking a cup of tea. Maybe with some honey. Watching the birds at the feeder. Watching a really good documentary. Sitting quietly at 6:30 a.m. A tears rolling down the face kind of laugh. Cooking and then cleaning up the kitchen. Being with Renee. Like ordinary things. And as I recalled those ordinary things, I recalled the feeling that I have in those ordinary things. And that really is the treasure. That is really what makes the ordinary extraordinary. Is the feeling in it. So maybe you could create your own list to remind yourself, because what I'm thinking also, and what I've come to realize, is that we don't really have to look for the beauty in the ordinary. We just have to notice how we feel and how good we feel when we're there. We just have to notice the goodness. Because it is in the feeling of the ordinariness that makes it extraordinary. That where we notice the beauty of people and things and ways of being and and of life itself. So I want to share another story from Debbie Creasy, who's the one who shared these stories, and she is so moved by the ordinariness in her life. We had a short talk so I could ask her permission to share this story as well as the one I've shared already. And we had a great talk about the power of the ordinary. Let me share this story from when she was a young girl, back when she lived in Baltimore. And she says this: "Many years ago, I lived in Baltimore, and I had an old pickup truck and a boyfriend who lived 100 miles away on the Eastern Shore. Most weekends, I would drive down to see him, leaving about 6 o'clock in the evening after finishing my Saturday shift at a health food store. This particular night was in winter, freezing cold with a howling wind, but I went anyway. Young love and foolishness," she says. "I always stopped just before crossing the Bay Bridge to get coffee at a McDonald's. For some reason that night, I put on the emergency brake, and when I came back to the truck, the brake had frozen. I couldn't move, except for a little bit in reverse. It was getting late, and it was before cell phones, and I was panicked. Several high school guys who were just cruising around drove me to a nearby Exxon station where I explained my dilemma to the lone attendant there, a guy with greasy hair and a country accent. He said he would drive up to the McDonald's in about an hour after he closed the station. When he finally got there, I was sitting in my truck, freezing and crying, with no way to let my boyfriend know where I was. My gas station angel finally showed up, and after about 15 minutes of struggling under the truck in the frigid parking lot, he miraculously freed the brake. He looked at me and my tear-stained face and said, 'Sometimes we just cry. I was watching an old movie before I came to work this afternoon, and I was crying.' His words were like a warm hug, and he wouldn't let me pay him. Lesson learned." Well, I can feel the emotion in that moment, can't you? And I know Debbie, to this day, from talking to her, feels the emotion in that moment, feels the support. That crying is okay. I cried too, he said. I cried today. The simple things in life, the ordinary experiences in life. To notice the feeling, and you know what? It's not just a plain vanilla kind of feeling. It's not just I feel good. There are beauty shows up in specific feelings like feeling alive, or feeling grateful, or delighted, or peaceful, or appreciative. To feel content or warm. To feel mellow and relaxed, or inspired and intense. To feel joyful and soulful and connected. All these things, ordinary, can evoke those extraordinary feelings. You know, I really think we are meant to live a simple life, to gain the beauty out of the simple nature of the ordinary. That's where our treasure lies. What appears in the outer to be so very, very ordinary allows us to feel the extraordinariness of life. And maybe, just maybe, that's one of the advantages of this time of isolation, of this time of COVID where we're separate from each other, is that it gives us the gift of experiencing the ordinary and to feel the beauty of it. So let's take a few moments now to sit in this quite ordinary moment. To be still, to take a deep breath in, and to let it out, the ordinariness of breath even. And to be still, and to feel the beauty in this exact moment now. I feel lifted up. My soul feels free. My heart feels a little lighter, having recognized the beauty in the ordinariness of my own life. I feel grateful and peaceful. I feel calm and at ease, ever attentive to the extraordinary ordinariness that surrounds me each and every day. Amen. Well, let's close as we do at Spiritual Soul Center, and let's feel how this prayer makes us feel in its supreme and extraordinary ordinariness. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be happy. Amen.